You could plug your ears. That would mean the munching isn't as loud.
My ears? No.
You're actually plugging your ears. You actually believe me.
Very cool.
Popcorn. It's lovely.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yeah.
if you're listening to this, you are a hipster because this is literally the first podcast we have ever done. Ever.
Yes.
Literally ever. I don't think I've ever been on a podcast. That's not true, actually. I was on the Bible Thumping Windnut show
You were.
a long time ago in a galaxy far, far
That
away.
was recorded.
Yeah, so my name is Sean Bradford. I am the founder and creator of the Armoury Bible board game, which you should download for free because that's what you can do at the armouryboardgame.com. And I'm joined by my beautiful wife, Sarah Bradford, who's eating popcorn that she
I
made.
am, very loudly. I am the supporter of my husband, Sean, who has been creating the Armoury.
She's the coffee maker
I'm the coffee maker, yep.
and the encourager.
Yes.
So Sarah, in 2 words, describe the Armoury.
Amazingly cool.
In 4 words, describe the Armoury.
Dynamic Bible board game.
I should actually say that Sarah's also the main game tester.
I'm the spell checker.
The spell checker, because my spelling is atrocious.
I'm sometimes reworder.
Yes, because my grammar is atrocious.
Mine's not much better.
I was going to say something, but I forgot. And
I'm
that's why
sorry.
you need a pen and paper. I need to get a pen and paper.
So, Sean, how long have you been working on the Armoury for? Like, since its inception, how long has it been?
Okay, who's the interviewer here? Who's asking the questions?
I'm keeping people on their toes while you're getting paper.
Now they're going to hear me scribble. When I say something you disagree with, people can hear me go. Or if you say something, I'm like, look at the paper. Look at it, I'm writing stuff. Right, so the Armoury was originally a app idea I had, I think around 2013, maybe 2012. I'd have to go back and look. But basically I had this desire to sort of incorporate typewriting, so practicing touch typing, incorporating touch typing with brain training, because I like brain training games. But then also on top of that, add a third layer, which was scripture memory and apologetics, teaching the Bible so that people could learn the Bible in a fun, interactive way, where it didn't feel like they were learning it, but when they walked away, they would feel like they're learning it. I started doing the graphics. Actually, the logo that is existing today is from the very beginning. Unfortunately, I shelved, well, not unfortunately, but I just
Things got
shelved.
in the way.
I shelved the project because I was in film school, so I was focusing on that, and I kind of felt like on the side I was trying to learn how to develop a video game. So I was looking at Unity and trying to use finite state machines and all these things I had no idea about, trying to program without being a programmer and to create a game that worked whilst also trying to do the art. It's a huge project to take on board when you're a student working part-time, so I shelved the project.
I had no idea you were researching things like that in depth. Programming, wow.
Yeah, because when you don't have lots of money to develop things, you have to do it yourself. So you have to, which is fine if you have lots of time. Life happens. Things went past. It's just sort of.
We got married. We were saving to get married.
We got married. Yeah, that happened. And
You're working on the side as well.
yeah, recently an opportunity came to really open this project up again. Basically, what happened is that I'm a child and youth worker, and there's a huge, what would you call? I'm just gonna say it. There's a huge youth conference just down the road from us. And I was asked to facilitate a group from this conference. Now, this conference theologically is heretical. I'm just gonna
yes.
I'm just gonna say that.
It
I'm
is.
I'm not gonna say, well,
It is.
we have some minor differences. No, they've pretty much flat out heretical. However,
They are.
I thought it was a wonderful opportunity to have a group of young people come to me. I could actually preach the gospel, and then we could do a bit of outreach. We could go to a retirement home, and we can tell people about Jesus there. So that was my hope. And in doing this, I had been working on these video series for Wrath and Grace Productions called The Attributes of God. They're free. You can watch them online. They're designed for children. They're short videos that are to tell people about the attributes of God. But as a result of making that, I had lots of sort of icons and pictures and images. And one video I did was on the holiness of God. And the holiness of God was really focusing on Exodus 20 and the 10 Commandments. So it was a video to really basically help children learn the 10 Commandments. So I decided for this outreach, I was going to create a board game. Just a very simple board game where you kind of slap. It's almost like, yeah, it's like slap, where you play with cards. You kind of slap these images of the 10 Commandments. Snap, that's it. Snap is what I mean. It's like you snap, slap, snap, slap these pictures of the 10 Commandments down. And the first one to say which commandment it is got a point. And it worked really well. The kids loved it. The old people liked it. It was a good bridge into talking to spiritual issues. And then when I was walking back, or later on, I thought, this could actually be a bigger thing. This could be a full-fledged thing, which could be to teach children the Bible in a really fun, interactive way. And that's suddenly when it clicked. Oh, yes, I had this project that had been shelved that I could now reopen and use. And that's pretty much what I did. And I figured that actually a board game works better than a video game because there's a social nature, an element to board games, which you don't get with video games. So I was excited to open this project, and bang, here we are, 2017, nearly 2018. The Armoury, you can download it. Did I mention that? You can download it?
Yes, you did. I don't know if I'm a terrible wife. I had no idea that's where the idea of the game came from, was during that youth camp. And you creating that. I remember that 10 Commandments game. I had no idea that's where the Armoury came from. I don't know why.
You're probably just a terrible wife.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I love you.
Yeah. No, I had no idea. That was, wow. I had a baby since. No, I didn't. I had the baby before.
You can't blame baby brain anymore, so.
I can. It's a real thing. Baby brain is a real thing.
So tell us about babies. You had a baby. I was there.
Yes, you were, and you were amazing. It was an amazing birthing
I'm not going to
partner.
believe you. You're my wife.
Well, of course, I wouldn't lie. I'm a Christian. You were amazing.
Good point.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what commandment is...
Lying.
Yeah.
Oh, I have to go through it. I'm going to say number 8.
Tick, tock.
8.
It is 9, isn't it? Oh my goodness, I've
No.
forgotten. We haven't played the Armoury. We haven't done the 10 Commandments in a while.
No, coveting is 9.
No, coveting's 10.
It's 10. It is. Oh my goodness.
So no, it is
That's
9.
my Catholic background
8.
ingrained in my head.
8 is theft. 7's adultery.
5 is honoring parents. 6 is murder.
7's adultery. 8 is stealing.
8 is stealing.
9 is lying. Yep, 9 is lying.
Well done.
There we go.
I clearly need to play the Armoury again.
We do. We need to play it. We've been training on the 12 apostles. So we sort of...
Which is great.
We've learned the 12 apostles, but we sort of haven't...
Well, kind of, yeah.
refreshed
We're
our
also
minds.
learned the order in which they've died and how they died. So,
According to the Fox's Book of Martyrs.
Yes.
Yes.
Which is that's been very eye-opening.
So anyway, back to babies.
Babies. Well, we have a nearly 7-month-old baby called Enoch. And
Gotta put the phlegm in there. Enoch.
don't really.
Sounds extra biblical when you do it.
I don't know.
No, you don't. Okay, you don't have.
Enoch.
Enoch Leslie Bradford.
Yes, ELB. We're hoping he'll be an author, so he'll have like the initials like ELB or EL Bradford.
L Bradford.
L.
Bradford.
EL Bradford.
If you're wondering why I speak funny, it's because I grew up in South Africa. I lived in Ireland, and now I'm living in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a really warped accent.
Mm-hmm.
My wife is 100% Irish. So what you're hearing is unadulterated, 100% Irish. And a lot of
Yes.
people say you sound American.
They do. That's. I like to say it's because I have very flat vowels and a very neutral accent because I grew up in 2 different areas of Ireland. But I don't know. It could be the American TV show influence on me when I was a kid. But I'd like to say it's because I have a neutral accent.
Say, Mark, make me a burger.
Mark, make me a burger. Burger. It's the dub in me.
It comes out when
Burger.
she's around Dublin people.
It does. It really does.
Borga.
Burger.
Borga.
It's not burger. You sound, I don't know. You don't sound Irish when you say that.
So how was pregnancy and birth?
Pregnancy.
Describe it in 2 words.
You keep giving me just these
Describe it in 4 words.
4. I'm counting
that's
here.
1, that counts.
A really great blessing.
A really great blessing. Good. You can count.
Just about. Use my fingers. I miss being pregnant. I loved it, particularly the towards the end of the second trimester and the third trimester, or most of the third, apart from the end. Anybody who's been pregnant knows what I mean. It gets hard towards the end, but we had an amazing pregnancy.
That's the baby. You can hear him.
Yes, that's the baby. If you can't hear him, he's being very good for the moment. I had a very difficult first trimester because I had morning sickness all the time. And then when we moved here to the UK, we had a serious bleed and we thought that we lost the baby. We were told by a doctor that it was very, very, very likely that I miscarried at about 10 weeks. We'd only been here a week here in the UK, and it was really scary. My husband was gone. He was in Nottingham. It was really scary, really horrible. I had to ask two wonderful people from church who live near us, but I didn't know them very well at the time. You know, I wanted my husband. It was scary. I didn't know what was going on. I just dropped chocolate there. But anyway, long story short, it was a miracle. He was alive. What happened was I just had a large area of hemorrhaging underneath the womb, and he was perfectly fine. We had an early scan, which was amazing seeing that. And granted, it was a few days after we actually went into the emergency room, which wouldn't happen in Ireland unless they repeal the Eighth Amendment, and that's for another discussion. And we found out he was okay. I was just overwhelmed with relief, and I'm sure you were as well. And
yeah, you can really sympathize with people who have lost children because we legitimately thought we had lost them.
Yeah, we grieved.
So it was a terrible feeling.
Yeah, we did grieve. We had a night
we
of
prayed,
grieving.
we had faith. It's the reason we called him Enoch, because the word means dedicated.
Well, we've heard him. Apparently there's different meanings, but one that we've heard means dedicated, yeah.
So our prayer was that he would be dedicated to God, that we would raise him as best we could in the faith, Christian faith. I suppose it was a reality check that this is serious. This is a person, and there's a huge obligation to instill biblical principles and truth into this child, and to really commit your children to the Lord. And we can't determine if he will become a Christian, but what we can determine is that he can know the gospel, and he'll have a clear understanding of the gospel. So whether he embraces it or rejects it, we have done our part as parents.
Yes.
And I suppose that's where it comes back to the Armoury and the importance of parents teaching their children the scripture. A lot of my work, I'm trying to focus on encouraging parents to disciple their children. There's ample Bible references of fathers instructing children. Even in secular case studies, I've been sending this out on emails to the Armoury. Quite a few done by Care of the Family, Gen Z by Youth for Christ. Quite a few of these surveys even showing secular or non-Christian backgrounds. The people that have the most influence on young people are parents.
Yes.
And then after that, it's teachers and youth workers and sort of pastors and all these things actually are quite low. And this shouldn't be surprising because the Bible puts a great deal and emphasis on parents raising their children. And Paul commended Timothy that from childhood he knew the Holy Scriptures, which were able to make him wise to salvation. And this is telling us quite a lot. It's telling us that children can be wise. Children can obtain salvation. Children can have a solid understanding and knowledge of the gospel. They can actually know quite a lot of things. And this is where I look at kids playing video games and ask any child about Pokemon. I guarantee you they can name more than 5 Pokemon. And they can name all the strengths and weaknesses of these Pokemon. They know all the wacky and weird names of these Pokemon.
Yeah.
Or just any game or thing that they're really into.
Like when you were a child, you could name off loads of dinosaurs, couldn't you?
Yeah.
As a child, you could name these, dinosaurs with their complicated names, and you probably could, attach this name to this dinosaur, and you could probably tell people all about them.
Yeah, that was because of Jurassic Park and the Power Rangers sort of merged. Who was the genius who merged ninjas?
90s kids.
He was the genius who merged ninjas, dinosaurs,
yeah, it just
And giant robots fighting.
It's just
Like every episode ended with giant robots fighting.
yeah, it's like every child's dream in one.
All they needed is like to catch like Pokemon in it as well.
Mm.
You'd get it.
Yeah, I'm sure something like that exists. Maybe even in
Japan.
Japan.
Japan, definitely.
Yeah.
The Armoury is designed to be customizable. So
Sorry, I'm just eating popcorn here. I'm really hungry.
eat you loudly.
Oh, sorry.
The Armoury is designed to be customizable. So oh my goodness, that's annoying. This is what I have to live with people.
He's the refined one in this relationship. I'm
Yes,
Irish.
they think I'm posh because I have manners.
You are posh.
I have etiquette, darling. Etiquette.
He was literally taught etiquette. His grandmother literally taught him
Yes,
food
well, I'm
etiquette,
partly English,
dinner
yeah.
etiquette.
Anyway,
Yeah.
the Armoury is designed to be customizable. So if you're catechizing your children, you can incorporate that into the Armoury. A lot of the questions are ask the game master for a question. So you can really fill in the blank. You can make up your own question. And the goal is, as the game master, is to really tailor the questions to help the children, your family members, to learn the Bible. You're not trying to get one up on them. It's the game where people work together and you're trying to learn the Bible together,
Yes.
but in an interactive and challenging way. If you have any suggestions or any requests, let me know and I could start working on them. One thing we were just talking about today was trying to uncover some of the myths and legends around Christmas.
Yeah.
So a lot of people think that there's 3 wise men or 3 magi who went to visit Jesus.
Kings. Three
Or
kings.
3 kings.
Three kings.
That's,
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
that song. Yeah.
Yeah.
Songs are powerful. They really change culture. But sort of going through these myths around Christmas, but then incorporating them in the Armoury and challenging children to know the actual historical facts and events around the birth
Yes.
of Jesus Christ.
Speaking of the Magi, let me just read a scripture. It's funny, we had our church carol service this evening and it was beautiful. There was a scripture reading of Matthew 2, and one particular scripture struck me in relation to the Magi. It was Matthew 2:10. When they saw the star, they were overjoyed. And I don't know, it's just something struck me. They rejoiced, they celebrated when they saw the star in Bethlehem, and they worshipped Jesus. And then we were given a Christmas card afterwards by dear friends of ours, and they included that verse in the card, and we opened it when we got home. It's just like, oh my goodness, that was a verse that struck me anyway. Yeah.
We hope that struck you too.
Yes, they were overjoyed, and we should be overjoyed too.
Okay, I think we're going to wrap the show up. So we're going to do this segment of this broadcast. It's called the Scripture Typer Review. It doesn't actually have a name yet. We'll come up with a name. But basically, there's an app or a website called Scripture Typer. It's a great way of memorizing scripture. I really recommend it. It's free. Well, you have to pay for the app on your phone, but
It's worth it.
it's free on a browser. I'm not being sponsored by them. I just recommend this to everyone because
He
it's
uses
such a
them
great
all
tool.
the time. He just uses the app all the time.
When you basically memorize a scripture, it then after a certain amount of time asks you to review it. So we're just going to go through some of the scriptures I've memorized, and
We're doing this?
now I'm going to
Okay.
review. So we're just going to read it. It's Job chapter 41 verse 11, and it says this: "Who has preceded me that I should pay him? Everything under heaven is mine."
Oh, me. Who's the person?
Well, this is God speaking to Job out of the whirlwind, and
Yes,
he's
yeah.
saying everything under heaven is mine.
mine.
So all glory goes to God.
Yes, exactly.
There is
yeah.
nothing we can give God that he doesn't already own.
No, and that's the thing. We're constantly in a humbled position because everything we have, and even spiritually, if we realize something in the Bible or we come to understand or grasp a certain doctrine, we can't boast because everything that we have has been given to us by God, even spiritually. Which I think it's wonderful. It keeps us humbled, and that's the position we want to be in. We want to be humble before God constantly, and humble with one another. So yes, it's It's encouraging verse.
So this was the Anvil and Hammer. Ding! And you do like a sound
we need
effect.
to get an actual...
Yeah, like a hammer with like an explosion. Ding! Or like a... No, what I'm going to do is I'm going to like get the frying pan. Gonna like fry it and then like put water on it and go... Yeah. So it kind of has that sound of like dipping a sword into water.
Oh, that's great.
So it's like, you know...
And it comes back
being
to
like
the armory and like...
Yeah, like refining a sword and the refiner's fire and hammering.
Anvil and Hammer. See, I'm slow.
Anvil and Hammer, the Armoury, putting on the armor of God.
Yes.
This is Anvil and Hammer. Thank you for joining us for our very first podcast.
Yes. Thank you.
Like, comment, subscribe, follow, tweet. What else do you do on the internet? Share.
Watch.
Spam.
Maybe,
Spamming.
Not.
We could do.
Read your emails.
Read your emails. But is spam? Spam's technically sin, isn't it? Because spam is like unwanted messages.
Yes.
And in like in an appropriate way.
Yes, it's like you're like constantly poking someone on the arm, like I'm doing right now.
Anyway.
Spam.
Don't spam, but do the other stuff that you can do.
Yes, share to those who are interested. We don't want people to be, unnecessary.
Well, don't share it at all. Just say whatever and close this right now. Why are you still listening to this? We have nothing left to say.
Yeah. Well, except for thank you and be kind.
There you go. See ya.
Bye.